This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Gemar Chasima Toiva, Agun Erev Yom Tif, it's Erev Yom Kippur. Minhag Yisrael is to do Kaparos. Firstly, let's discuss what is the reasoning of Kaparos. Here, the person did an Aveira, and many are noig to do Kaparos with a chicken or with money. Why do we shech the chicken? What is the concept of Kaparos? The Meiri writes in the Chibra Tshuva, in Maimer Beis Park Ches, that in his opinion, it's kedei la'orer es hapachad miyom hadin. It's in order to inspire, in order to arouse a fear in the Yom Hadin. He says, Uladaiti, eina kavana minhag rak lahar leva adam harido. It's to frighten a person. When he sees himself and all of his family has to undergo this procedure for their averos, and we look at what is done to the behema and we think this should be done for us. The point of that is to shake us up a little bit and to stir us and to make us realize what a person is potentially liable for. Says the Meiri, it's kedei laharidai lahoyer lev ha'adam b'tshuva. And says Meiri, but if we do tshuva to Hashem, Hashem will overturn the klal levracha and He will be korea gezar dinenu. And amazingly, if you look in the Shas Tshuvas Mahari Vayel and Siman Kuf Tzadi Aleph, which is quoted in the Shar Tzion, Siman Tafreish Heis of Katan Beis, he says we take the chicken for the kaparos, and what we do to the chicken is Arba Misas Bezin. We do skila. And what way do we do skila? At the time of the shchita, we turn the behema over, we turn it upside down, klape mata. That in effect is like a skila. Hereg is pshuta kamashmai, the shechting of the chicken. Likewise, we take some of the feathers, we burn some of the feathers, which is a remez to the sreifa. And before the shchita, we take our fingers, and we put around the neck of the chicken to be merames to the misa of chenek. Says Mari Vayel, Yachshev beliboy kiluhu chayiv misa, and because if a person has a gzeira on them, in order to be mavata l'gzeira, you have to give the malchamava something. So this is in replacement of what could have potentially been incurred by the person themselves. But the purpose, Meiri writes, is kedei laharidoi. It's to instill a pachad hadin into our hearts, to put us in the proper frame of mind as we approach the Yom Hadin. So a common question is, how much money should a person give toward kaparos if they don't do so with the chicken? Many have a minhag lecharchila to do kaparos with money. How much money should be given? And this question is not addressed specifically. In other words, the poskim do not give a specific amount of money that a person would be obligated to give toward kaparos. In the Sefer Kavitz Halachos, he brings that ve'in bazeh shir kavua. He brings on page Reish Pei Gimel, there's no specific shir. In other words, Chazal have not legislated how much the kaparos should be. He says a person should evaluate and be meshayar the value of kaparos, to be mechaper for the nefashos of his bias. In other words, there is no specific legislated amount, but rather al kalpanim it should be shir chashav. It should be a shir chashav, a significant amount, something that has substance. So we can't say whether it's $1 or it's $50. We don't have a legislated amount. It's reasonable that it would be something that is a shir chashav for each person lefi madregasam. And that amount, one should at least envision that one is giving that money as a pidyon for what they possibly may have incurred. In other words, even if a person is not using a chicken and they're not shechting a chicken and they're not doing daled misos on a chicken, but the idea of giving the money is you're giving the money as a pidyon, an envision of what a person is chayiv, and this should help us instill the proper ema and pachad hadin, and that is a zchus for the Rebbe Shalom to merachim on us and all of our families and children. Lanu ulchal Yisrael for Gemar Chasima Toiva Aguk Ben Shiur.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.